Thank you, Vicky. Well, I was asked to talk about the consolidation of Buenos Aires. But if by consolidation we understand the act of combining things to form an integral whole, we cannot really talk about consolidation in Buenos Aires. In fact, what it can be seen in the last 15 years is the consolidation of differences, because consolidation has occurred, but mostly in the extremes, in the richest and in the poorest part of metropolitan area. I will use two recent examples to illustrate this acceleration and deepening of differences in Buenos Aires and its relation to the process of city design. The first is a competition to choose an icon for the Argentine bicentennial to be located north of Puerto Madero, and second is the informal market of La Salada, located in the metropolitan area of Buenos Aires. The first case, Puerto Bicentenario, is an 8-hectare site on coastal land strategically located near the city's business center, adjacent to the successful private-public operation of Puerto Madero, facing Catalinas Norte and with spectacular views to the river. The site is now owned by a real estate company, IRSA, which in 1993 purchased it from another private company, which purchased it from Tandanor, a nationally owned shipyard company, during the fraudulent privatizations of the early 90s. The site was idle since 1973, when Tandanor shipyard moved south. After IRSA bought the site, there were news about a big real estate project of office towers, a mini financial city, but nothing was done because the zoning for the site was for port uses, and despite big pressures back and forth in the legislature of the city of Buenos Aires, the zoning was not changed up to now. In April 2008, some months ago, a group of national business leaders, including this company, proposed to the President of the nation, in a media event with extensive press coverage, a mega private project to be called Puerto Bicentenario to be developed in this site. $1.1 billion is the estimated investment to rehabilitate historic buildings, to extend public parks, to build a new ferry terminal, and of course to build high-end housing and office towers. In addition, they announced the launching of an international competition from an iconic building to represent the city and the nation for the Argentine bicentennial in 2010. This announcement provoked a strong critical reaction from the Central Society of Architects. They declared that the competition was not only to choose an icon, not a building, and a program of land use for the site, and it was not for a real estate operation. Skimming the rules for the competition does not reveal the real estate interests involved. They are invisible. All the language is politically correct, calling for a debate and ideas about the model for the future of the city, including goals such as social inclusion, integration of diversity, and protection of public spaces, the environment, and local identities. The competition closed in mid-August. It received 80 projects, and 12 were selected to be exhibited for 20 days in the Abasto Mall, where visitors were invited to vote for one of the projects, and the other 2 awards were selected by a jury. The call, the exhibition, and the invitation to vote all received extensive press coverage and was fueled by an expensive public relations campaign. The institutional framework for the competition included private funding by IRSA and institutional support by the national and the city government, despite their big political differences. The Central Society, who organized the competition, brought professional legitimacy to it. But let me turn to the awards. The project selected by the public is a tower with an elevator that takes the visitors to the top in 20 minutes. One of the other two projects selected by the jury is an horizontal building reflecting on the water and stressing the traditional entrance to the city. Finally, the other award is an elevated cube composed of hundreds of iron nails that move with the wind as grass in the river. At night, they illuminate with LEDs activated by cell phones, creating changing images in the nocturnal sky. The land uses proposed by these three projects are public or cultural, clearly. But in some of the other 12 selected projects, we can see a mix of public and real estate uses. For instance, in this one, the frame where the vertical parts would be housing, while the horizontal ones will be for commerce and exhibition. It seems to be a slim mark of La Defense. Or Paseo Aéreo, an aerial 2 miles long bridge, 60 meters in the height, supported by 50 towers of 20 floors each. It has the audacity of Le Corbusier's project for Rio de Janeiro, but 80 years later. Those last two projects seem to have understood quite well the true real estate spirit of the organizers. As the rules for the competition stated, IRSA has no obligation to the winning projects. What the company will ultimately do with the site remains to be seen. What will happen depends on whether private capital can influence municipal officials and legislators to lift the present port zoning and allow real estate exploitation of this valuable site. Let us now leave the gilded side of globalization in Buenos Aires and go to the other side, our second case, La Feria La Salada. It's an informal market located along the meandering Riachuelo River with no access by road or by bus. It started also in 1991 when a group of Bolivian immigrants occupied the site to sell clothes and food. La Salada occupies a big area without clear tenure with intermittent activities. It is a product of neoliberal policies and globalization. In fact, it's the other side of globalization. La Salada, like Puerto Bicentenario, is a coastal site along a river. However, its views are not to the unlimited horizon of the Rio de la Plata, but of piles of garbage. In contrast to the high visibility of Puerto Bicentenario, La Salada is invisible on official maps. The history of the site also includes the presence of the state. During the presidency of Perón, large swimming pools were built in what became a very popular resort. It was closed and abandoned in the 60s because of the pollution of the water produced by nearby industries located along the Riachuelo. The market expanded during and after the political and economic crisis of 2001-2002, when unemployment rose to 35%. Today, it consists of 3 hangars and an open space along the railroads and the Riachuelo. The market opens twice a week, mostly at dawn, receiving around 20,000 people per day with some 200 stands. 6,000 families of Bolivian, Argentines, Paraguayan, Peruvian, and also some Senegalese are working there. Its annual sales amount to $125 million. People sell all kinds of clothes produced at home, cheap brand cappies, of course, and electrodomestic and watches imported from Southeast Asia. All transactions are in cash. There are no fixed taxes, no consistent state regulations. It is self-managed and regulated in terms of rent, access, and security. The market receives buyers who carry their products to more than 200 markets in the interior of Argentina and in the adjacent countries. Also, in the formal city, in the barrios of Buenos Aires, saladitas have emerged to the astonishment of the media. The global dimensions of La Salada are clear. Not only are goods and people circulating across Latin American borders, La Salada is also viewed as a menace to global legal commerce. The European Union recently denounced La Salada as one of the biggest Latin American centers which do not respect commercial and brand regulation. La Salada is now part of a world net of informal commerce. It is illegal for the state, but accepted by the society, blurring dichotomous tradition between the legal and illegal, the licit and illicit. Intertwined with the commerce, there are also religious festivities which parades, dance, music, and folk ornamentation with ponchos and fake dollars. Let me go to the conclusions. These examples represent two extremes in Buenos Aires: concentrations of global capital in real estate and informal spaces of exchange in which small, mostly poor families buy and sell goods. These are the spaces in which the city is changing the most and in which we can see the trends of the future. In between, there are many neighborhoods, avenues, and streets where city life continues with few changes in space, daily routine, and culture. These two cases are narratives of consolidation, and together the distance between them represent the consolidation of difference. What can we learn from these two cases of city design and investment? Both involve negotiation between public and private interests, though admittedly of a very different nature. One follows the interest of real estate markets, appropriating national symbolic events to legitimate investment and profits, and intends to blur public and private interests. The second exists outside the public realm, beyond the radar of legality and the reach of regular taxations and controls. Their installation is neither planned nor designed. They are forced to operate in real time and real space. And we might end by saying that in this last case, in La Salada, city design has fallen into the cracks of globalization. Thank you.